Have you ever heard the sound of your own body? I don't mean your heartbeat or your breathing, I'm talking about that dry, unpleasant crunch that echoes inside you when you simply try to take a step. For me, that sound became a daily companion, a constant reminder that something was going wrong. My knees started cracking quietly at first, as if someone were rubbing sand between the joints, but over time, that sound turned into a roar. Every squat, every flight of stairs was accompanied by pain. It wasn't just discomfort, it was a sharp, piercing agony that shot through my leg from knee to hip. I remember the day I realized I couldn't go on like this. I was trying to climb the stairs to the second floor, and I had to stop at every landing to dull the pain. I felt like an old man trapped in a body that wasn't yet old. Naturally, I went to the doctors, the white coat, the smell of medicine, the cold stare of x-ray films. The doctor looked at me without much emotion, as if he saw this every day. He said a sentence that hit me harder than any physical pain. You are on a direct path to the operating table. Your joints are worn out, the cartilage is gone. If you don't want to end up disabled, prepare for surgery. Those words echoed in my head for days. Surgery, rehabilitation, the possibility of losing my mobility forever. But the worst part wasn't that. The worst part was when I began to analyze my life and realized I had driven myself to this finish line. What is my profession? I am a long-haul trucker. That's a romantic name for someone who only sees the world through a cab window. In reality, it's a life in a constant seated position, 10, 12 hours behind the wheel. Cities change, landscapes pass, but you remain chained to the seat. After the doctor dismissed me, I started searching for information. The internet can be scary, but sometimes it opens your eyes. I stumbled upon countless videos, articles, and studies explaining the mechanics of my condition. It turned out the problem wasn't just age or genetics. The problem was that my muscles had simply switched off. When we sit for hours, our leg muscles atrophy. They stop supporting the joints, they stop absorbing the load. All the pressure goes directly to the knees, to the cartilage, and the bone. My body began to break down because I stopped using it as a mechanism for movement. I had turned into a passenger in my own organism. This realization was the point of no return. I understood that if I didn't change my lifestyle now, surgery would only be the beginning of the end. But how do you change the life of a driver who is constantly on the road? I couldn't quit my job, it was my bread and butter, but I could change how I approached it. The first step was my old bicycle, which had been gathering dust in the garage for years. I decided no car to work if the distance allowed it. I started cycling. The first rides were hell, my legs refused to turn the pedals, my knees throbbed, and I couldn't catch my breath. It felt like my body was rebelling against any activity, but I endured. I rode slowly, I stopped when it hurt, but I kept going. Gradually, day by day, something changed. My blood began to circulate better. Muscles that had slept for years began to wake up. It was a strange sensation, like reclaiming your own legs. But a bike wasn't enough. I realized I needed a comprehensive load. I started adding morning exercises. At first they were simple movements, ankle rotations, light leg lifts, while lying down, stretching. I did it carefully, listening to every signal from my body. Then I moved on to more serious workouts. It was no longer just so it wouldn't hurt. It became a way of life. I made time for training even during hauls. I found outdoor gyms at rest stops and did bodyweight exercises. A year passed, a year of hard work on myself, and then a miracle happened, which in reality was no miracle at all. The pain began to recede. First, the crunching while walking disappeared. Then I was able to walk downstairs comfortably without gripping the railing, and eventually I could squat again. It was an incredible victory. A problem that seemed like a life sentence began to retreat. My knees didn't become new, but they became functional. I felt the maximum benefit of simply moving. The doctors were stunned when they saw my results a year later. Surgery was no longer on the table, but this story isn't just about me. While I was recovering, I looked at my colleagues, and what I saw scared me more than my own diagnosis. Look around at the truck stops. How many of us are overweight? Obesity among truck drivers is an epidemic. We eat on the go, we live on fast food, we drink too much coffee to stay awake and too little water so we don't have to stop. We smoke in our cabs to relieve stress, but let's look at the facts that make your blood run cold. In Europe, 1 in 6 adults is already living with obesity. Almost 51% of the EU population age 16 and over is overweight, and 17% are obese. Experts predict that by 2030, more than half of Europe will be living with obesity, and in some countries, this figure will reach a terrifying 89%. In the US, the situation is even more alarming. The official obesity rate among adults is 37%, but that's just the average. In 19 states, the rate exceeds 35%. Other data suggests over 42% of American adults are already obese. The scariest part is that obesity kills slowly and invisibly. It doesn't strike suddenly like a heart attack. It creeps up for years, destroying your joints, your heart, and your vessels. Cardiovascular disease is a driver's main enemy. Hypertension, heart attacks, strokes. I know many guys who didn't make it to retirement. They died at the wheel or were left disabled. Why? Because a sedentary lifestyle kills more than just knees. It kills the heart, ruins the vessels, and leads to diabetes. When you sit for hours, your metabolism slows, blood sugar rises, and blood pressure spikes. It is a silent killer. I realize now these statistics are not just numbers. These are our colleagues. These are our friends. This could be us. I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to make you think. This could be your future. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Will you be able to climb out of your cab without pain? Will you be able to play with your grandkids, or will you be sitting in a chair with a handful of pills? The choices we make every day determine our old age. Many will say, I don't have time, this is my job, it's genetics. Those are excuses. I thought that too. I believed work was more important than health. But the truth is, without health, your work doesn't matter. Why earn money if there's no one left to spend it or if you can't enjoy life? My journey taught me one simple truth. The body was built for movement. It wants to live, it wants to recover, but you have to help it. You don't have to be an Olympic champion. Just start small. Get out of the cab at the rest stop and walk for 15 minutes. Do a few squats while holding onto the trailer. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Ride a bike on the weekends. Change your diet even just a little. More vegetables, less salt and fat. It doesn't require millions of dollars. It requires discipline. It requires self-respect. When I started to value my body, it thanked me. I feel alive again. I don't hear the crunch of bones. I hear the wind on the road. I don't see the world through a prism of pain, but through a prism of opportunity. So I'm speaking to you, friends. To everyone behind the wheel, in the office, or living a sedentary life. Don't wait until you become part of these terrifying statistics. Don't wait for a doctor to mention surgery. Don't wait for the first warning from your heart. Your body is the only home you have. There is nowhere else to live. Start taking care of it today. Take the first step. Let it be a small walk or skipping that junk food, but do it, because if you don't take care of your body, no one else will. Remember, your future isn't built in hospital wards. It's built here and now in every move you make. Don't let illness define your life. Define it yourself. Move, live, take care. Thank you for listening to my story. May your road be easy and your knees be strong.